Beautiful ones, are you sleeping with an energy vampire? If you are, you probably don't know it. So I want to delve deep into this because I was with an energy vampire for a long time and I had no idea. And clients have come to me, I can spot it right away. But for example, I had a woman that came to me a couple years ago, and right away I saw that it was an energy vampire and addressed it. And she told me later, she ended up working with me and totally transforming her life. But she said, when you talked about that, she said, I was thinking, Bird is just crazy. I totally don't believe this kind of stuff. So I'm going to go over the characteristics of an energy vampire. And so I want you just to listen to this. And I know that energy vampire is another word for narcissist, right? People throw out narcissists all the time. And so I want to do a disclaimer. All of us, well, not all of us, but most of us come from some type of dysfunctional families in some type of way. So it is possible that you can have, or someone has, a few of these characteristics. That's normal. But it is, I believe, Dr. Christiane Northrup has a book, and she talks about it extensively in Dodging Energy Vampires, on the characteristics that it is something that is a mental illness, that they can't feel empathy, and it's really destructive. She says that the biggest one of the biggest health epidemics in the world is energy vampires, because what happens if you're with an energy vampire for a long time, you don't usually know it, and what's happening is that's what they call energy vampires. They're sucking your energy, and over time it'll show up in your bodies. Like things like fibromyalgia is often a disease of an energy vampire. And if you have, that doesn't necessarily mean that, but that is one of the things in the body that Dr. Christiane Northrup talks about. So if you want to learn more, check out her book, Dodging Energy Vampires. But I'm going to go over some characteristics of an energy vampire, all right? So first of all, energy vampire, they're really charming, all right? So they're charming. So if you're with an energy vampire and you figure it out, like, people don't believe you. Like, they are charming, they're manipulative. Sometimes I've been coming across a lot of spiritual vampires, like, they are really versed in the spiritual way. So a lot of times you don't know it's coming, all right? And then I'm going to go over, like, a lot of us, if you attracted an energy vampire, a lot of times it's because you're an empath. And often what Christiane Northrup talks about is that old soul empath. So you have like super traits. You're very loving, you're very compassionate, you're hardworking, you are industrious, you have so much empathy and compassion for somebody, and these are the things that attract an energy vampire. So if you're an empath watching this, it's likely you've had. And, it can be a romantic partner I'm talking about here in the bedroom, but, it can be a friend. And I believe that it is a cycle of trauma from generations. So, for a lot of us, a lot of our ancestors went through, and ancestors are parents and our grandparents went through some really hard things, right? And we've been living in this white male patriarchal system. I talk about this, and like, it has caused a lot of damage. And if you're a woman, it's caused a lot. And if you're a woman of color, like, it's even a deeper level of the pain. So I believe, Dr. Christiane Northrup talks about that she thinks it's just like people are born that way. Like, it's just like a psychopath. I don't know if I don't agree with this on her. Like, I think it is a sign of trauma, and it's the way the ego has managed to protect the person. So I have a lot of compassion for it in that way. But I'm going to go over some characteristics, all right? Very charismatic. They have the sense of grandiosity, and that doesn't mean like just like I'm amazing, those things are healthy. A lot of times, we say that, like, that stuff's healthy. It is like, it's like they're superior. Like, underneath, they really think they're superior. And what it's protecting is an ego underneath that doesn't feel good. So they have to put this grandiosity. Control, power and control. They like to have power and control. So what will happen often if you're with an energy vampire is and they're very manipulative. They will get you to kind of start alienating family and friends. A lot of times they're pathological liars too. So that is another characteristic, and you have, like, people don't know. So some more characteristics of energy vampire: gaslighting. So I didn't know I was with was in a relationship with an energy vampire for a long time, and I had no idea what a narcissist was. I had no idea what an energy vampire was. If somebody asked me at work, sounds like a narcissist, and I said, no, that's not, because usually you have no idea, right? And it is a form of emotional abuse. So it is damaging. It can, like, it will show up in your body. It is something that will suck your energy. So like if you are, for example, getting yourself healthy and doing yoga and eating well, and then you're with an energy vampire, all of a sudden that energy is gone. Like it depletes your energy field. So it is really destructive to your mental being and to your health. But gaslighting. So I remember a coworker of mine came up and said, look up gaslighting. And I looked up gaslighting and my mouth just dropped and I thought, oh my God, like I had no idea. So gaslighting is a form of blaming. So no matter what, it gets manipulated and it's always your fault. So because of that, a lot of times you kind of have this PTSD. You really feel safe because you don't know when you're going to get blamed with it. There's often a cycle of rage attacks, like rageful attacks, and then after that it's followed by silent treatment. And then when you have the silent treatment, so it's also an addictive pattern. So if you are with an energy vampire, a lot of times like it's an addiction. That's how I was, like for years and years, like he wanted to leave and I was like, no, like it was like I was addicted to him. It's a cycle of, they rage and then they give you the silent treatment and then you want them to be okay. You want this assurance, and then they will love bomb, and then they'll come back and love bomb you. So it's like this cycle, and it's an addictive pattern. There's a lot of drama. So there's a lot of study on like even drama is really addictive. And just because you have drama, a lot of us have drama in our relationships. That doesn't mean you're with an energy vampire or narcissist. But like if you take a look at all these things and like do your research and get some books, but if you have a lot of these things, it's indicative. And a sense of entitlement, and exploitative, really manipulative. They will usually manipulate you, and you will usually feel like, for example, in an argument, like it's your fault. So you kind of have this sense of like, I'm never good enough, I'm not worthy enough, like you're always trying to appease this person. And then again, there's a cycle of this rage attacks and the love bombing. So there'll always be love bombing. And because of the love bombing, you think, oh, this person really loves me. So you don't realize it's like this subtle emotional abuse that's going on because you think, oh, this person really, really loves me. A lot of times they can be very arrogant. And the arrogance is about this fake, their ego is protecting, like inside, they don't feel good. And I think, sometimes there was abuse, there was different stuff that went on. So the ego's protecting the being. So they have this false sense of entitlement, this false sense of arrogance. Again, drama, silent treatment, like engulfment too. Like they will be like in your Kool-Aid a lot. They will be texting you all the time, really attentive, and that's part of that love bombing. So like you feel loved. Oftentimes when you are first with a narcissist, or energy vampire, same thing, they will be very charming and like just really devote themselves to you. So in the long term, an energy vampire, one sign is that they will usually almost always cheat. Like that is because they have to get their energy source from someone else. They have to get their validation. But often when a relationship starts, they don't. So you're looking at the signs and everything looks okay, you're checking it out, and he or she is faithful, and she's pouring all this attention on you. But then when things settle, then they have to go to that cycle. So it's a big thing that infidelity is very characteristic. And just because someone's unfaithful does not mean that someone's a narcissist. Again, all of us, we all can have some of these things, but it's a narcissistic personality disorder. It's a mental condition, and there's different parts of it. And if you come from a family, some of us come from families with history. You can have a mother that was a narcissist or a father that was a narcissist, or maybe they had characteristics because it comes from this legacy. So, there's different, just do your research on it and find out what that is. And, again, don't just jump to this, but I also want you to know that it's a form of abuse, and that's what that's what people don't understand is like, you know, we think abuse, we think of the physical abuse and the verbal abuse, and sometimes there is verbal abuse with an energy vampire, but a lot of times it's not. So it's like, it's subtle and you don't even realize. You can be with the energy vampire for years and it will show up in your body. Again, Dr. Christian Northrup says that she believes it's one of the biggest health issues in the world because it sucks so much energy. So it's really important to understand and be patient. I think a lot of times, like when you break up with, if an energy vampire breaks up with you, like it can be devastating because it's like this addictive pattern. And a lot of times, I've seen the research before that usually in a breakup over time, usually you can get over it. But a lot of times when you're with a narcissist, like the damage is so deep that it actually gets worse. Like you can feel like even, it's because it's like they've been sucking your energy and sucking your sense of self, and you don't feel safe, and it's like you're almost a mess afterwards, and you have to really go in and pick yourself up and dig in deep. So these are some of the things that I've had to do. That's why I talk about my healing. Like it's been a lot of shit that people don't realize that I had to go, and like it's not blatant. So those are some characteristics of an energy vampire. Now, the other thing is if you are leaving an energy vampire and you're the one that chooses to leave, they will do, I can't remember the word, what they call it, but basically everything they've done to you, they'll reflect it back to you. So, you know, if you were faithful, or you were faithful and you were never lied and you did other stuff, but, you know, your energy vampire was sleeping around and was lying all the time, they're going to tell everybody everything that they did, that they'll convince everybody that you did this. So because they have so much charisma, like people will believe in them. Like for me, I tell my close friends, I'm like, you know what, if you sat down with him, like you guys would be questioning me. You'd be like, you know, they're that good. So you can be in a situation where, you know, you have your family or you have good friends that are mutual, and all of a sudden this happened, and they're telling like these vicious lies about you, and they're putting it's called projection. They're projecting everything they ever did to you onto you. So it can be really devastating. So now you're dealing with a breakup, you're dealing with this stuff, and if you have children, you're dealing with this stuff, and then you're just getting attacked, and you're like, what is going on? And sometimes it comes like you don't expect it. It just like blindsides you. So that is another thing that's really characteristic of a narcissist, especially when you are breaking up. So anyways, if you have questions, you know, put it in the comments or DM me. I have been doing a lot of work with this myself. And again, I don't put this out here like, you know, you're with this bad energy vampire, you're with this bad narcissist. Yes, and I don't want to undermine it because it is a form of abuse that is really destructive, and it's hard to recover from. It is hard to recover from, and people don't understand it. I do want to say this though, that people don't understand. Like you have to make choices. You have to handle it. Like for example, in a divorce, the regular things that you do in a divorce, if you're with a narcissist, you have to do things different because it's like a totally different psychology around it. It's not just somebody, you know, you're not getting along and you have some issues. It's a totally different psychology. So a lot of times, like, you know, you make decisions and your friends are thinking you shouldn't be doing that. You're getting all this advice, but it's a different type of situation that is really hard. So it's important, if you've been with one, to get some assistance, to do your research, and to find other people that have been through that and can help you navigate it. So I want to say that. And then the other last thing is just, I really believe this is a cycle of generational trauma. So beautiful ones, if you're watching this, and I think a lot of my followers, like attracts like, it's not a coincidence that you're watching me here, right? Like, of all the people in the world, how did you end up in my space, right? And I'm doing this work literally when I started my healing journey a few years ago. I received a message from Spirit that said, you are supposed to brand yourself with videos and photos and assist people. Well, if you know my story, like, since I was a teenager, I hated being photographed, and since I was third grade. Like I was petrified. Like it was my greatest fear in the whole world to be on videotape. I heard myself recorded when I was in third grade. And, you know, I was that little girl in high school and grade school. I did a report and I was shaking. Like I hated talking in front of people. And I heard my voice and I was just mortified. So like up until my first Facebook Live I did 2.5 years ago here. And like I was, there's no video of me in the world. Like a family took something out, I was like, no, So I just mentioned that because number one, like if there's something's calling to you, like listen to it. A lot of times our biggest fear is our gift and what we're supposed to do. But number two is that when I had this calling, I said like, bring me who needs me. So if you're watching this, it's not an accident. It's not an accident. And you are being called. You are being called. My guess is that you probably are an empath. You can feel energy. You've probably felt things deeper, like you maybe have not fit in. You've kind of felt like a lone wolf all your life. The pain has been deep. People don't get you. You kind of don't fit in with family or friends. These were signs of an empath, right? You know? So my point, my point is if you're an empath, you've been called to heal yourself. Yeah, heal yourself. And right now, what's going on right now? It's like universe is saying, woohoo, it is time to heal. Not 5 years from now, not a year from now, 10 years from now. If you don't do it, it's gonna fucking hurt. So I'm gonna speak this before, it'll be the last thing I say. Yes, the healing is hard and you have to go in, but if you don't, the options are you're gonna keep repeating your same damn patterns. Like do you think I wanted to be with another energy? Like, you know how painful that fucking shit was? Like, that's what Berta would have been repeating if I didn't heal, right? So you don't want to repeat the same thing. And then number two, if you don't, it'll show up in your body. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to get some damn disease in my body. In my last years of life, I don't want to be sick. I watched my mother do that. My mother died from the pain. So those are the options. You can do that, or you do the healing journey and you heal the generational pain. And guess what happens? On the other side, I saw a meme about this, and this is what I agree with. The other side, when you do the healing, it is fucking beautiful. I mean that. Like, you look younger, you feel vibrant, you have love and joy, you get along with your children, like you are able to do the things that you love. And it doesn't mean that it's all perfect. I still have these things where I go through things and I'm in pain and like, oh, the stuff's hitting me, you know, but we're human, right? But the other side's fucking beautiful. Anyways, love and light, beautiful ones. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you know somebody, okay, oh, this is really important. I forgot about this. A narcissist. If you are with one, you're going to protect him or her. So if you have a friend that's with one, or you have a family member, like you confront them with it, they're gonna probably, they might even cut you off, because that's how I was. Like, anyone brought anything up, like they cut it off. I know my brother, after I left, he contacted me and he said, you know, it's so nice to finally have my sister back, because, you know, all these years I was afraid if I really said something that you were going to completely cut me off. So one characteristic is that you've been so manipulated that you will protect your energy vampire for like anything until you finally figure it out. And when you finally figure it out, you have so much compassion for them. And then they're like, I don't want you to leave and blah, blah, blah. And you have so much compassion. So sometimes you stay. So that is the one last thing that's important. So if you know anyone, like, be patient with them, but, you know, let them know. But if they're not doing something about it, that's why, because that's part of the pattern. All right, beautiful ones. I love you. Have a beautiful day and do the damn healing. It's important. I love you.